Today on the practice tee, we're going to help you hit your driver more squarely so that you stop skying it and don't put any more holes in the drop ceiling of your simulator space. We'll talk more about that straight ahead on the practice tee. Hello friends, and welcome into the Practice Tee, a video series where we are addressing the issues with golf that you send to us. We want your questions, your struggles, and the things that you could use professional help overcoming. All you have to do is share them in the comments below, and if we address them in a future video, we'll send some Michigan Golf Live swag your way. A few weeks ago, when we officially christened the MGL Sim Studio, I invited a good friend of mine over. His name is Josh. We were playing a simulated course, and just a couple holes into the round, Josh did something that had us both freeze in place for a moment. He hit a driver that went straight up. I mean, straight up. Straight up into the drop ceiling, where a hole quickly formed and debris began to fall, and he felt terrible. I was sitting back in a chair in the corner thinking, wow, it's a brand new simulator space and now it's got a little hole in it. We've rotated the ceiling tile around so you can't see where it went in, but it reminded me of the importance of making square, solid contact with your driver and not getting too far under it. So that's what we're addressing today. Stop skying your driver. We bring in Kmartin, who is the head golf professional at the Fortress Golf Course in Frankenmuth, Michigan, and also the Michigan PGA Section Teacher of the Year. So skying of the driver, not only does it leave an ugly blemish, nobody wants to see that on their nice new club, it doesn't do a lot for your score.
It's a tough way to start the day. If you stood on our first tee and you watched on a Saturday or Sunday morning how many players do that, you would be alarmed. It is a big issue with a lot of amateur golfers, and today I want to help fix that.
Are more of them topping it or skying it?
Skying it, for sure.
We can't have that, folks, because now you're going to get 50 yards tops out of your drive. You're going to feel terrible, and you're playing your second shot probably with a 3-wood in your hand where it should have been an iron. So help us stop skying our drivers.
Yeah, so really easy way to work on this. You don't even, in fact, need to hit a golf ball. Back to my towel. Towel's a really popular training aid.
By the way, if you were with us back in week 1 of the Practice Tee series, I think that's when Kyle broke out the towel, and I can confirm for you it has not been laundered since then. It looks a little bit dingier.
It's been used more.
Yes.
So if we identify a ball position, I'm not going to hit this golf ball, but all I want to do is take a towel and lay it out about 1 shoe length out in front of your golf ball. If we lay that out along the ground and I move this golf ball out of the way, one of the big reasons why you sky your driver is we end up hitting down on your driver. And so at the moment of impact, the club head is traveling substantially down. We're taught to tee the ball high. Well, if we're hitting down on the golf ball with a ball that's teed very high, we can see how that's a recipe for disaster and also a new driver, because that's how things can get cracked and get dented. So our goal is just to work back and through and start to understand how can we get as close to the ground near the golf ball or just behind the golf ball and miss that towel. And that will lead to more center face contact. It'll certainly lead to better scores because you're going to have more than a fairway wood in on your second shot. But that understanding of we need to sweep that golf ball off the tee, so to speak, or hit the golf ball more on the way up versus on the way down is how we maximize our carry, but we also get it through center face contact.
Let's also talk about ball position in our stances. If the temptation or the error has been that we're hitting down on the golf ball, it's probably too far back. Is
Correct.
That fair to say?
Yeah, most golfers think there's one ball position
Yeah.
for every club in your bag. You bring up a really great point.
Where do you want to see that ball when I have driver in my hand?
So ball position should be just off the inside of your left foot. And an easy way I tell people to do this in a lesson is set up with the ball in between your feet and take one big step with your trail foot. So it'd be your right foot for a right-handed golfer, obviously your left foot for a left-handed golfer. So that puts our ball position much more on the way up. Every golf swing is a circle.
Yeah.
Every circle has a bottom. With a driver, the bottom of that circle should be behind the golf ball so that we can hit the golf ball on the way up.
If we're hitting the ball on the way up with driver, if we're going to clear the towel, there's no way you've been hitting down on the ball if
Correct.
you're going to clear the towel.
Correct.
Right? So would you ever go to the range and actually put the towel out there to warm up?
Yes, absolutely. You can use your driver head cover. You can use your towel. You can stick tees in the ground if they're a little closer to the golf ball.
Yeah.
Where you would want to obviously miss those tees. But hitting up on the golf ball for the majority of amateur golfers, let's say under 115 mile an hour club head speed,
Which is everybody.
Almost, yeah, everybody, is going to be beneficial not only for distance consistency, but also direction as well.
Okay, we've also then got to talk about what will change in our game if we begin consistently hitting the ball as our driver is going back up. Because that means a couple of things. I don't have to scoop it, I don't have to help it, so I've got to get past that barrier. But it also means I might have a driver with the wrong loft in my hands. Because I've been used to hitting down on it and treating my driver like a glorified wedge for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So how do we make sure that we have the right driver in our hands? And what's the most common error you see in fitting that a lot of our viewers might be dealing with right now?
Yeah, first answer is always go see a PGA professional.
Yeah.
That's the quick and easy answer because we're generally trained on ball flight laws and what's going to be best for you. If they have access to a launch monitor, even better. But let's say my driver is set to just over 11 degrees. Well, 11 degrees, and I'm swinging close to that 110, 150
Yeah, that's higher than I would have
speed.
predicted, and that's probably higher than a lot of people think they need. Because they watched on TV somebody hit a 7-degree driver.
Right, and that was popular 30 years ago because the golf ball spun so much. So there's been the biggest technological jump in equipment isn't any club, it's by far the golf ball. And so the golf ball can launch higher and spin less now, but because of that, we need loft. If the ball isn't going to have backspin on it, we need loft to try and get the ball to go as far as possible. And so understanding that you need more loft, and if we hit up on it and we can have more loft, the ball will stay in the air longer. Easy metaphor is if you're standing at center field in a baseball field and you're trying to throw it to home plate, you would want to throw that ball up. You wouldn't want to throw that ball, let's say, ground level because the ball won't make it.
Can I put you on the spot to hit a couple of balls with the towel in place so people can see how that looks?
Yeah.
Easier you than me. I don't want to have the towel flying all the way to the screen for me. Let me bring up a little bit of a range for you. By the way, for those of you who have simulators or often work and play in simulators, you'll notice we have a kind of a unique tethered tee system. It's called K2 Golf, basically. Bungee cord, rubber tee, beanbag, and that just means we don't have to go chase the tee into every corner of the room every time somebody hits it. So I really like it and strongly recommend you to check out K2 Golf. All right, so Kyle's got about a shoe length between his ball and the towel.
Yep.
And without warming up, he comes out and busts at 104.5 club head speed, carries at 256 and runs it out to a little over 270 for a guy that's been driving a car for 15 hours and didn't warm up at all. That's pretty good stuff. So get yourself that gap. And can I just encourage everybody to do something that sounds a little bit funky? Don't be afraid on the range to do these things. If your buddies are like, "What are you doing?" and somehow they interpret that as a sign of weakness, who cares? If later on you're winning the round or whatever the wager might be.
No one's laughing when they're losing. That's the easy way to look at it.
So don't be afraid to try these things. In each of the videos, one of the things that Kyle has really been a proponent of is that most of the time, everything you need to work on your game you already own. Mm-hmm. You probably have a towel, and it's probably cleaner than Kyle's. I mean, those are pretty safe bets. But that's really how simple this drill can be so that you will stop skying your driver. I'm going to introduce this to my friend Josh, and hopefully it will help you all as well. Make sure you send us your questions and the things we can help you with in your game. Just put them in the comments section below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and anybody whose questions we address in a future video will send you a little Michigan Golf Live swag. Thanks for watching. Now, get out to the practice tee.